children about capitalism and how to be a capitalist, they are immediately labeled socialist or communist and run out of the room. Right? It's a taboo. Don't you think that's strange? That in a capitalist country, we cannot teach our children to be capitalists? Oh, think about it. Because you see, in a capitalist country, you are either a capitalist or you are a victim. There's no in-betweens. There's no in-betweens. You either play the game here or you're a victim of it. Now you have to make a choice. Of course, you can always leave the country. That's another choice. Right? Now, capitalism demands competition, selfishness, and mean-spiritedness. It demands it. But what do they teach your children in school? Be cooperative. Be cooperative. Take your turn. Don't fight. Don't cheat. Now, everybody engaged in capitalism knows that the motto is win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat. And what I'm trying to explain to you, ladies and gentlemen, is the real world that our children live in, not the ideal one that we want them to live in, not this wonderful world that we pray that will come here one day, but the real world that they have to live in. You want to know why they're acting so crazy? You want to know why they're doing the things that they're doing? Because we have not prepared them to live in this real world. We have sent them through 12 years of school teaching them this dumb stuff that doesn't work, and when they go out and try to apply it and get killed for it, we are not there to help them through. We are not there. We fade away on them. Somewhere around about 9th grade, we start talking about, I can't control him. I can't do nothing with him. Get out of my house if you don't do what I tell you to do. And we abandon them to the mean streets and then cry because they get murdered. Capitalism is not compatible with equality. It is not compatible with equity. It is not compatible with Christianity, no matter how hard we try. The struggle for survival in the United States is the handling of this never-ending tension between the institutional values of race, gender, and wealth, which give undue and unearned privileges and advantages to some so that others cannot compete on an equal basis for the resources of this country. This is the game. This is the game, ladies and gentlemen. As Alton told you, politics is the management of the conflict which occurs when groups war over the resources. Resources include money, land, right? So politics is just the passing around of the resources. If you don't have the resources, as Alton told you, you're not in the game. Black people just don't get it. All right. We just don't get it. All right.
What is good, my people? We are live back with another live broadcast on the forecast. Yo, what up, Jerome Davis? And shout out to everybody that's in here. And yeah, I'm not gonna be on here too long, but if anybody wanna come on here, first and foremost, I do gotta say, we trying to build our own stuff and do our own thing, but we gotta start with the basics. which is why I tried to take at least a positive step forward in doing something to help build with the water crisis. And let me thank everybody who had donated so far, But like I said, I'm gonna keep going with that, and I'm gonna keep saying it until we get to that point, you know what I'm saying? And to all the people who donated, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna be in contact with y'all. So and I gotta say, shout out to my brother Bakari. Check out his show earlier. We was just talking about the sister who was speaking at the beginning. So we was kind of going through that and and talking about it. He probably gonna go through some more. So make sure y'all subscribe to his channel too, because we probably be over there talking about that too. Now, let me say this because I don't want to. Y'all know I'm not somebody who like to go at black people ideologies and stuff like that, and I don't like to be mean to our people. You know what I'm saying? I reserve that for everybody else. But for the do the things that we want to do, we really got to get out of this spooky mindset when it comes to the economic side of the game. We don't understand what we're saying. We don't understand what we're doing. We don't understand the definition of none of this kind of stuff. Because if we did, we would know that we are the group who needs to capitalize on something the most, more than any damn body. Because all of this time, people have been capitalizing off of us. And see, we don't understand the words and the definitions and the stuff that we say because we're so busy to try to come at each other. But if you want to get to where you want to get to, you have to understand what is going on. No, no. But there's a lot of most racist companies in the world, believe me. And the unfortunate part is none of them are black. Cause see, we don't look at it from a side of being on the plus. We can only look at it on the negative side. We don't understand what this does. So I'm gonna put the link in the chat before because like I said, I'm gonna go through as many as I can because I don't know who gonna come on here. What's going on, my good brother person kid 21? And I'm glad you came, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna break it down because people seem to have misunderstandings and confusions about things, you know what I'm saying? And we wonder why we in the position talking about unity and why we don't got nothing and all of this kind of stuff. But then we turn around and call the very thing that could help us, you know what I'm saying, the devil. When really everything out there is designed to work in your favor. And we don't understand, like, yo, how the game goes. Right. I agree. You know what I'm saying? But like, yo, we believe in not capitalism. So we give away all of our intellectual property, all of our physical property. You know what I'm saying? Well, what y'all advocating for is against what Master P did. You know what I'm saying? I'm in favor of that. You know what I'm saying? So, yo, we act like, yo, it's this negative, scary thing. But when we start talking about economy and getting out the situation that we in, right? And using things to your advantage, we have to start understanding what this kind of stuff is. You know what I'm saying? And the brother last night, he was like, yo, it's colonialism. No, we don't understand the word because you couldn't even see yourself as the person who's in charge of your own resource. Because why wouldn't you want to benefit that? And it could be anything. It could be some corn. So before we get into that and before people start coming on and we get left, you know what I'm saying? I want to show y'all some black capitalists, you know what I'm saying, that we have had, and this will go for that Black History moment too. So y'all, of course, y'all know the first self-made female millionaire, and that's period, any kind of female, but you know what I'm saying, a black woman was the first self-made millionaire. Let's go through some of these. capitalists.
A child of slaves who becomes the first female African-American millionaire. But that fortune is a long way off in 1887. An uneducated single parent, Sarah keeps a roof over their heads by taking in other people's washing.
There was no indoor plumbing, there was no electricity. People really didn't bathe very often.
Exhaustion and the unhygienic conditions soon take its toll on Sarah.
Within a few years, her hair began to fall out. She had really horrible scalp disease, really horrible dandruff because she wasn't cleaning her scalp regularly.
In her role as a washerwoman.
And by the way, y'all, they probably gonna take this video down because of me playing this. So
it wouldn't smell so bad. Mostly to the towns and cities where there was a church. She was going after African-American women. And because they were urban, they were beginning to care more about their clothing and about their presentation. She knew that this market was untapped. She would go to their houses and say, I'll be happy to do a treatment for you for free if you buy the product from me for 10 cents.
It's a winning strategy. Soon, C.J. Walker has a team of saleswomen going door to door.
The scalp so their hair would grow.
And she has a vision of what she must do next. Between murdered, they use her.
I'm only skipping because they're gonna take it down because they own Black oppression, y'all, by the way, so we can't even talk about our heroes without them taking our stuff down because they understand how to capitalize off stuff like, now you're gonna do it my way or kick it, you know what I'm saying? Or we could have just had our own thing where I wouldn't have had to worry about it. So, but like I said,
CP, she would meet with the leadership of the NAACP and they would talk to her about their anti-lynching campaign. They would talk to her about.
Her fortune pays for campaigns and provides scholarships.
And she created that store that helped Black people get stuff on the low, for a low price. And she helped a lot of people by offering something that was very desperately needed in the Black community that helped make our lives better. And then she turned around and used that for even more things to help create for the Black community. You know what I'm saying? So here's another brother.
Millionaires. Robert S. Abbott, one of the first African-American self-made millionaires, was the founder of the Chicago Defender, which became known as America's Black newspaper. Mr. Abbott started the Chicago Defender in 1905 with an initial investment of 25 cents. His newspaper became the most widely circulated Black newspaper in the country. The slogan he established for his paper, "American race prejudice must be destroyed," reflected his belief about what the ideal experience should be for Black Americans or any American. He used the pages of the Chicago Defender to not only encourage people to migrate north for a better life, but also fight for an even better lifestyle once they arrive. The newspaper's columns helped to bring about the great migration of Black Americans from the rural South to northern industrial centers, which had an abundant need of workers to manufacture goods for World War I. By 1916, the Chicago Defender's circulation reached 50,000.
All right. So yeah, I can't play all of these videos. It's probably too late anyway. And a lot of these is quick. Now, this is about Maggie Walker, you know what I'm saying? Another Black capitalist. So I got to shout out to all of these Black capitalists. Now, I couldn't find too much good information from brothers, you know what I'm saying? Like, and this includes me, you know what I'm saying? So, but, this is not just about Maggie L. Walker. This is about Black-owned banks and Jackson Ward, you know what I'm saying, which is in Richmond, Virginia, during the 1800s, 1900s, Black capitalism.
The Grand Fountain of the United Order of True Reformers was an organization founded by William Washington Brown. Originally a preacher from Alabama, he would try and join a temperance organization there called the Independent Order of the Good Templars. However, because he was African American, he was barred from joining that organization. So instead, he founded a segregated branch and began growing that organization. He would move between Alabama and Richmond, growing that organization, but in 1880 would finally settle here in Jackson Ward. He would continue running the Grand Fountain of Virginia and traveling throughout the state, opening new branches and recruiting new members. But he set his sights higher. He knew that this organization could be something more than just a temperance organization. And so what he did is he transformed it into an insurance organization. He was the first to start an organization that would provide insurance through a Black fraternal order in the United States. And so he would travel throughout Virginia and other states, providing insurance to African American communities where they otherwise might not have access to it. And he would serve.
All right, so I'm gonna stop it right there. This is this is just one dude, and he went further on the black banks throughout Richmond, which was a epidemic before we started like saying, yo, this thing is a crime. Like, I understand people have committed crimes, but we haven't had the army, police, gang to arrest nobody for it, because we don't. How you gonna pay them? What you gonna do to like feed them? Like,
Historian Carter G. Woodson, through an organization he founded called the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, or ASALH, formulated the idea of using 1 week each February to highlight the lives of African Americans. The idea was expanded to encompass the entire month of February, each Black history, identity, and diversity, to explore how Black families have been portrayed in American culture throughout its history. That is, of course, something that Maggie L. Walker would know about firsthand. And in 1909, she would talk about it directly in a speech that she gave. In a speech titled Race Unity, Mrs. Walker talks about the Black family and how families are naturally thought of as being united because of their shared heritage and, as she put it, being of the same flesh and blood. She continues her speech by saying that it would be strange if a family was not willing to work together to lift each other up, and that there is something, an invisible feeling or element that binds the family together, and that is love. Towards the end of Mrs. Walker's speech, she says, quote, "Without appreciation, respect, and love, there can be no unity. One might as well try and erect a wall without cement, or to build a frame house without nails. In fact, we believe it is easier to do either of these two than it is to have family unity without love." End quote. But in this speech, Mrs. Walker was not truly talking about an individual Black family, but instead, she was using a metaphor to say that the Black race as a whole is a family, and that they should come together to work for and with each other as a family does.
now, I guess luckily a white boy said it so y'all could hear that. You know what I'm saying? But okay, yeah, I just wanted to check real quick. I'm gonna go real quick through the these last couple of people, because we may not have known that, Black people haven't always been spooked out about capitalism, because they realize, like, hey, yo, I'm gonna have to go get a slice of pie from somewhere. So instead of trying to fight somebody and protest out their store when they said no nigga pies, I'm gonna just go make my own shop and say, yo, this is for my people only. And you know what? It happens to be the best pie out there. But, of course, we want to integrate, so I understand where we at. So let me go with the next ones real quick.
A Black History Month spotlight tonight is about a man from Columbus County who once ran the nation's largest and richest Black-owned business. Charles Clinton Spalding, born and raised in Farmers Union, became the president of North Carolina Mutual, an insurance company in Durham. Spalding was president of that company from 1923 until he died in 1952. And at that time of his death, the company was worth an estimated $40 million. Spalding has remained a very prominent name, not just in North Carolina, but across America. The roots are so rich. The Spaldings even have a family historian. Luke Alexander is his name. He told me everything I wanted to know about C.C. Spalding and the little Columbus County town he always called home.
Just as usual, these 50 years, with clock-like punctuality and unruffled, kindly manner, Charles Spalding makes his way through the busy third-floor office to his own.
He is probably the most famous member
An insurance company in Durham called North Carolina Mutual.
Charles Spalding was born here in Columbus County, in this area. The neighborhood's called Farmers Union.
A tiny town.
Who was also from right out here. Dr. Aaron Moore was the first Black doctor in Durham. Aaron Moore and his friend John Merrick founded North Carolina Mutual. Very soon after the company started, they brought Charles Spalding into the company, and the three of them took it to heights. And this is a company founded in 1898. So the same year that the Wilmington insurrection is going on. These men are founding a Black-owned company in Durham, and over the next decades, they would build it into the largest Black corporation in America.
Under Spalding's leadership, the company eventually made so much money, it became known as the Black Wall Street. An historical marker stands in downtown Durham near the current North Carolina Mutual.
It succeeded probably beyond their wildest dreams. I mean, I've seen some of the figures that, within, say, 5 years of being in operation, they were making a significant amount of money, selling these policies.
Spalding never forgot his roots.
Now, which is crazy because they was only able to sell to Black people, right? Only, and this was at a time in the 1800s where they tried to say Black people was just sharecroppers and had nothing, and especially compared to today. And just selling insurance, baking opportunities, they was able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. You know what I'm saying? Who would have thought? You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the Black capitalists. And this is Minnie Cox. I was gonna show her because she started a thing too, where she started her own insurance company, and when she was the first postmaster in Indiana, I think. In Indiana, she was maybe the first Black woman in that position, but they ran her out of office because she was a Black woman, like literally bombed her house, made them run out, you know what I'm saying? But after she came back, she started her own companies in I forget what state. I think it was in Indiana. So, and also, did you know that Harriet Tubman held Ida B. Wells' infant son in 1896? You know what I'm saying? And I don't even know if people even realize, like, yo, these people was working together for real. Like, yo, they was not spooked out. And I'm gonna play just a little bit of their organization and what they was trying to do.
So you have Harriet Tubman. I'm sure you all have probably heard of Harriet Tubman. She helped free over 300 slaves, having had freed herself. And you have Miss Margaret Murray Washington. You may not have heard of her, but I'm sure you've heard of her husband, Booker T. Washington. And then you have Miss Ida B. Wells. Like I said, Miss Ida B. Wells, she's a staunch woman. She was a very courageous woman, and she didn't take anything off of anybody. She championed this anti-lynching movement. And then you have Frances E. W. Harper. And what I can say about her is she was a very mild-mannered woman in a lot of respects, but she was a poet. She was talented at writing and communicating her message. So these women came together and they created the Federation of Afro-American Women. Okay. They created, the Federation of African American Women. And their whole goal was to pool these Black women who have been working in these separate clubs together to put their power, their money, and their resources forward in order to make things better for the Black community. A couple of things. This is the agenda in 1896, and I'm impressed by it. They wanted to institute industrial training across the country. And these Black women were getting together and they were going back in their communities, but they were getting this agenda, right? And they were going to strategize and contextualize this agenda to their communities. But here's what they wanted to do. And here are the things that they did. They wanted to address corrections institutions. They wanted moral education for African-American girls, housing conditions and home purity. They basically wanted to teach them how to be better housewives and mothers, local reading and debating clubs, anti-lynching, of course, the education segregation in Florida. And also, I would like to point out Harriet Tubman wanted to address the use of Afro-American versus colored. So you can see some of the progression.
Yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to show y'all that, which is very interesting that number one, not only is that the same discussions that we just argued about last week, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, at least they was actually meeting with each other and they was helping these people that we just saw moving from south to north. They helped them get houses. They helped them get jobs by creating jobs for them to get, you know what I'm saying? They used the system that was in front of them for their benefit. They capitalized off the fact that they had every opportunity in the world. Like, for instance, if there was no baby formula, you know, Maggie L. Walker was going to be like, you know what, I can, you know what I'm saying, somehow manufacture some baby formula instead of complaining to somebody else about it or to create it. You know what I'm saying? So it's one more, and then we're going to kind of get into it if, you know. So this is Sarah Rector, one of the youngest. I'll play this a little bit. And I'm not going to play this whole video, but y'all should watch it because y'all going to argue about it.
A descendant of slaves, Sarah Rector earned a parcel of land that made her so wealthy, the state of Oklahoma declared her white.
Now, if y'all watch the rest of it, I'm not going to do it because y'all going to start arguing, but I'm going to play some of it.
To be what it is today.
We'll highlight some of the late.
This is Aunt Sister Sarah Rector's obituary.
This story you're about to hear,
my fondest memory was the farm.
Is a whole different animal.
She had chickens, cows, calves, and stuff like that. Maybe them geese. So the geese chased us. Yeah. But
this flock of sisters
Wait a minute.
sat down with me to separate fact from fiction about their aunt.
They should know the truth.
Yeah.
They should know the truth.
They should know that all the pictures that's out there of Sarah Rector
are not her.
Sarah Rector.
Right.
Last week, we told you the story of Sarah Rector, the first Black millionaire in Kansas City, at the time the youngest millionaire in the country. One of the many descendants of slaves or freedmen born before 1906, given a land allotment in Oklahoma, where a driller hit a gusher on Rector's allotment.
There was also a real danger to freedmen living in the area.
Historian Diane Houston says that's a big reason why the Rectors packed up and moved to Kansas City. Sarah's mother, Rose Rector, bought this house on 12th Street. Houston says as soon as the oil was discovered, rumors and inaccuracies started flowing just as freely.
We always know this. You can't always trust everything you read.
And then they had it also that she was an orphan. She was not an orphan.
Right. Not an orphan.
And said that her father died in prison. And it also had, which is not true.
And get this, Houston and Rector's nieces tell me there's a picture of Sarah Rector at the Smithsonian. That's not her. So how come no one said anything?
Even when we were kids, my mom and them knew that wasn't her, you know, but never leave it alone. Just let them talk.
Rector's nieces say Sarah and her mother and Sarah's husband all lived at this house on 12th Street. And eventually,
she had a house on Lock Ridge.
Rector's family members say she just about bought up the entire block. She also owned a house across the street, an apartment building down the street, and she liked the finer things in life.
She lived a life of luxury. She had money coming in, and she did whatever she pleased with it.
I remember the fancy cars she had, the big fancy Cadillacs. I remember that. I remember her coming to the house and they played cards and they'd sit around and they had fun. They would close Emeryburg Fair downtown because we couldn't go in there and try on clothes. But they closed it down for her to come and shop.
There were many layers to Sarah Rector, and while some of what circulated online is false, she was never an orphan, she wasn't abused or living on a dirt floor. Family members say what is true, she played hard and she loved hard.
Most of it's like she was a party girl. She loved the party, entertain, and she did. But the flip side was she loved her family.
All right, so yeah, and so I had to do my shout out to the black yo, what up, Bakari? Yo, to the black capitalists out there, you know what I'm saying, the people who took the opportunity that was in front of them, you know what I'm saying. Now I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all is probably gonna throw me out the barbecue now, you know what I'm saying. But you know what? I'm gonna take all the you know what I'm saying, white people y'all invited to the barbecue out with you, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of you don't understand the arguments that you're saying, you know what I'm saying? And I understand that when you be like, yo, I don't go by somebody else's definition. I get that, you know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. But when I say, oh, I don't go by somebody else's definition about black, well, no, you got to do that then. It's just when you pick and choose to do that. But that's a whole nother topic, a whole nother conversation. But, you know what I'm saying? I get when you say, oh, I don't go by somebody else's, you know what I'm saying, definitions. Okay. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. Now, it doesn't matter because your talking points are still from the same direction. You know what I'm saying? You would be classified as Marxist talking points. You know what I'm saying? The societies that you're talking about is Marxism. And by the way, that is a society that would have you at the very bottom because I know you want to, you know what I'm saying, put up your picture of Karl Marx besides your Buddha poster on your wall, you know what I'm saying, and in between, and have the Jesus in between it, you know what I'm saying. But like, I'm not trying to take away our stuff, but like, yo, it's dangerous when we start talking about the economy. Your definition about what, my brother? About capitalism? And yeah, the link already in the chat for anybody who want to come on. And for anybody who think, because last time I asked y'all, and you know what I'm saying, if you think that capitalism is a problem, then come on here and say something, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you know how to define words, Bakari. I don't even know if you know there could be different contexts for the word, so it means different things. I don't know if you understand. Just like I don't think they understand what their talking points are. You know what I'm saying? But what you're saying is Marxism. So let me show you this because I showed you last time. You know what I'm saying? Because like, yo, it's not an answer. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you're saying you're an individual, you know what I'm saying, caught up in somebody else's system. But as long as you're that, there's never going to be a system except for whatever somebody else provides for you, which I thought is the point to get your own. You know what I'm saying? Because I could have showed Black Wall Street, you know what I'm saying, speaking about capitalism, how we always talking about how we need to rebuild Black Wall Street and all of this stuff. Well, that's called capitalism, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, we're going to get into it. But first, I'm going to show y'all where y'all talking points is coming from, you know what I'm saying? And all those Black people who be like, yeah, I'm a Marxist and be proud to say that, you know what I'm saying? This is your boy Karl Marx on the Negro. And like I said, I'm taking everybody out the barbecue when I get thrown out with me. So your boy Karl Marx is out there. Justin Bieber, all of them is coming with me.
7, page 71, Karl Marx on the Negro. Marx and Engels are customarily depicted as admirers of Abraham Lincoln, resolute foes of chattel slavery, and courageous champions of Negro rights, Negro equality, and Negro freedom. There is scarcely an iota of truth to this interpretation. Publicly and for political reasons, both Marx and Engels posed as friends of the Negro. In private, they were anti-black racists of the most odious sort. They had contempt for the entire Negro race, a contempt they expressed by comparing Negroes to animals by identifying black people with idiots and by continuously using the appropriate term again in their private correspondence. Since they wrote to each other in German, this meant inserting the offensive English word instead of using the correct German word. Again, since neither revolutionary theorist had much interest in the Negro, and still less in the fate of Africa south of the Sahara, the quest for Marx and Engels' true views on the Negro has required a diligent and prolonged search. It has been rewarded, if that is the correct word, by some revealing expressions of gutter race hatred of the lowest sort. Marx wrote Engels on July 30th, 1862, that the Jewish Jürgen Lassalle was fortunately leaving
And he's blanking out, nigger.
London towards the end of the week for his native Germany, adding, "It is now absolutely clear to me, as both the shape of his head and his hair texture shows, he descends from the Negroes who joined Moses' flight from Egypt. Unless his mother or grandmother on the paternal side hybridized with an again. Now the combination of Germanness and Jewishness with a primarily Negro substance necessarily creates a strange product. The pushiness of the fellow is also like." Wait, they never bring this up in the socialist meeting? If you're a little bit confused by what's just happening there, Marx has his own theory about black Egyptians and black Jews. Because apparently he thinks there was some race mixing going on in Egypt when the fucking Jews were making their exodus. So he looks at other Jews and
If that happened, of course, you know. But so yeah, I had to take that off the table right there. Yo, what up, Bakari?
Go ahead, forecast. Give me 1 sec.
All right, yeah. So I had to take your boy Karl Marx off the table. So all those black people who be like, "Yeah, I'm a Marxist, I'm a this," and I know a lot of you probably wouldn't be like, "Yo, what's up, Tanzan?" I know a lot of you probably wouldn't be like, "I'm a Marxist," but your talking points are coming from those things. You know what I'm saying? And that goes back to this power to all the people stuff. And and we wonder why we cannot recreate the spirit of our ancestors who were black capitalists. To us, everything is starting to become spooked out. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that I think that we need to start talking about. You know what I'm saying? So and Bakari, let me know because I'll let you speak before I go to the definitions and stuff.
All right, well, see, man, capitalism is just wrong, and you're just upset, because you're a Pan-African. And
Bakari, I would say this. I wouldn't do that because, like, if I let him on, y'all be mad.
And Marcus Garvey, see, this is what he was talking about. So he switched the topic last time. See, and Marcus, but see, all that stuff you showing about those people, I knew. That's why Marcus Garvey didn't like those people, and he didn't get along with black people that was pushing socialism or, excuse me, socialism or communism. He didn't get he didn't get along with those black people, because he was like, we're in a capitalist country, so capitalism in a way, but we use capitalism. We're supposed to use capitalism to build ourselves up, right? So they coined what he did. I don't think he coined it. Other people coined it, Garveyism. And Garveyism was only like group economics. And one day when we're talking, I can show you, I go through my stuff and I can show you how the economic plan was supposed to work, right? But it was a great plan. So you can go ahead. I just wanted to tell you that you agree to capitalist.
All right, so don't get mad if we come on. All right, but yeah, so, and that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? Now, Bakari, let me ask you first before I show you, because I asked you last time, and I was like, I don't know, do black people have a different definition of capitalism? And the brother answered it last time, but You know,
You're
I'm
asking me
asking.
that question.
Yeah, I'm asking you.
I'm gonna be honest. I think so. Only thing I ever hear black people say, it it breeds evil. Capitalism, that's the white supremacy system, and they don't want to work in white. That's the only thing I truly hear people who's against capitalism. Those are the words that come out of their mouth.
And what's the alternative to capitalism?
Garveyism. That's my alternative. Garveyism. See, we're gonna have to do a real show on that forecast. And I know and we can call him that. People don't want to use Marcus Garvey name. I'm gonna always say Garveyism. That's me. But if you want to come up with another name for it, and you can like say my trucking business, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got a truck. By the end of this year, I'm gonna have my second truck, right? And I get up to a certain amount of money, right? I keep some for myself, but it's a certain amount because we're trying to build a nation. We're trying to become a nation. People, I have to be okay with giving. Let's say I'm making $300,000, right? I have to be okay with giving 10% of that, 15% of that to benefit of black people. You understand what I'm saying? To help build the things that we need. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. I just meant because I know most people wouldn't say that, but you know what I'm saying, I don't think they understand what alternative to it means, you know what I'm saying, which is like because like yo, all right, so let me do this. Let's get into the definitions, you know what I'm saying? Because I know we don't go by that, so I'm gonna switch it up for you. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is the definition, right? Just from here, from the Oxford Language Dictionary that pops up on when you Google it. Now, is an economic and political system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit rather than by the state. All right, so now I'm gonna put it this definition in so we can understand it. It's like if I start a business, right? And if I am the one who owns my business, you know what I'm saying? I'm the one who's in control of my business. I'm the one who makes all the decisions. You know what I'm saying? I live or die by my thing, you know what I'm saying? And they say it's for profit, you know what I'm saying? And by the way, you know what I'm saying? Anything you do is to like, yo, if I had only corn and stuff, you don't have to be money. We don't think about outside the box, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna get there. So that's capitalism, right? I have my own business, right? But I control it. All right. So socialism, right? Is a political and you get capitalism, right, Bakari?
Yes, I get capitalism.
All right. Because I forget this is not ninth grade. We in I'm gonna say second grade today. You know what I'm saying? Y'all did good last time. Y'all actually left.
There you go, trying to.
All right, so socialism, right? A political and economic theory of social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole. Now, if I have this same business that I started, that means everybody in the community owns this business. You know what I'm saying? Like now, Bakari, I own some of your business now because I'm in the community. You know what I'm saying? And Raw, you know what I'm saying? All of us own this money. This is socialism, but you can't do nothing now, even though you may not you may do more work than me, but you can't make no decisions without me, and you won't get paid more than me, no matter how much more work you do to me. You know what I'm saying? So you get that one, socialism, right?
Yeah, I got socialism.
All right, so I'm gonna say it one more time. Is a one that the whole community owns it. You know what I'm saying? Now we can take the word socialism because I know like we like, yo, I don't go by somebody else's definitions, but you're gonna have to do this in business. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to make these decisions when you start a business. How do you want to run it? All right, so communism, all right, is a political theory derived from Karl Marx, but we eliminated Karl Marx already. He got kicked out of the cookout before me. So but it's advocating class war and leading to a society in which property is publicly owned by each person. Now this is the definition. Property is publicly owned by each person. Work is paid according to their ability and needs. You know what I'm saying? So what's the difference? The main difference under communism, most property and economic resources are owned and controlled by the state. So now, I would say America owns the property, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever state creates it, because we haven't created that property yet, you know what I'm saying? For us to have this conversation. But, so that means the government owns my business, you know what I'm saying? So the government can tell me how to work, when to work, you know what I'm saying, how much I can make, it can dictate everything. And it can also tell you to go to my business, you know what I'm saying, or face consequences, you know what I'm saying? So it's the state, and socialism is the people, you know what I'm saying? I own part of Bakari's business, but if not, then the state owns it. That's communism. So you get that, right, Bakari?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so of those three, which one would you say?
Capitalism. Capitalism is what I am. Capitalist. Garveyism, whatever word they want to say. Because I don't think that would be fair for someone, because this is the thing, everything is not going to be shared properly, first of all. But should nobody be allowed to just stand on a corner and just talk, never do anything? You're not offering anything to society, but they should get the exact same thing as me and you, who's getting up out here, going out here working, making sure we eat, picking the vegetables, whatever the hell you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
I don't think that's a good thing.
All right, so Bakari is of the devil. All right, what up, MG2?
Oh, just hanging out, listening. Real good conversation. I'm not sure if and I gotta say peace to the chat, peace to everybody on the panel. I don't know if you guys ever had a chance to watch the lecture that Dr. John Henrik Clarke gave on socialism and Karl Marx and capitalism. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's definitely worthwhile, and it'll give you a lot more thorough foundation of these isms that a lot of folks define, for lack of a better term. I always have my own definitions, Brother Forecast. Why? Because it's my frame of reference at the end of the day that matters, and not a frame of reference that a European or anyone else puts on me, whether it's in a book or whether it's in a street corner. And the reason I say that is because we as Black folks have been basically living our lives as using others as our frame of reference. We use these isms by saying this or that, an ism is nothing more than an act of doing something somebody puts over your head. Judaism, Catholicism, this ism, that ism, you're actually acting upon something that's not even in your own, your personal nature, because you did not develop those so-called things, the foundation of those isms. We did not develop the so-called capital to make it capitalism. So the thing is, I always take things from their roots. What is the root word of capitalism? Of course, capital. And then if you look at what pure capitalism is nothing more than, you have capital and you have the ism, the act of capital, or the act of taking, I call it taking advantage. That's why I like to use my own frame of reference, because it really fits my motive of the things that pertain to what I'm doing. And the reason I say that is because if you have your frame of reference, it's so important. I always tell folks about, your frame of reference actually defines what you're going to do in life, and actually defines the parameters of your being. If your frame of reference is somebody else defined, no matter how they defined it, then therefore your frame of reference is theirs. You don't have your own frame of reference. It is a frame of reference that was derived by something that came to you. So one of the things that I do is I always tell folks, if you're a capitalist, or if you capitalize, because that's all capitalism is capitalizing on capital. And the thing is, again, the act of doing something, I say that I'm one of the most pure capitalists that ever existed in nature. Why? Folks ask you why. Why are you a capitalist? If I was dropped in the middle of an ocean or a lake, and every time my head went down underneath water, every time I took a breath, I'm a capitalize on every little piece of air that I can get into my lungs. Everything in nature is a capitalist. You're going to capitalize on the things that are going to make you live. Like me trying to go ahead and make sure, even though I can swim, doesn't matter. If I'm underneath the water, if it's a bubble that has some oxygen in it, I'm gonna try to get to it because I'm gonna try to capitalize on that air. So the thing is when folks try to define things like socialism, and I like the definition that you gave of socialism, because basically socialism is nothing more than capitalism anyway. Why do I say that? People ask. If you have a company, no matter what that company is, and it gives out quote unquote shares of stock, that's a socialistic motive right there, because now you've got a lot of owners. People are now sharing that company. No different than socialism, sharing in the so-called benefits of a society or whatever, whether it's agriculture, it doesn't matter the product. It ain't no different than Apple or Tesla stock, which got hammered today in the market. So the thing is a lot of times, that's why I say my frame of reference, I have to go in and modify it for myself, because a lot of these things are so ambiguous, and usually they make them ambiguous, Brother Forecast, so they could go ahead and make you change your frame of reference into theirs, so they could define what your plans and what the things they define they determine the direction in your life by their frame of reference and their terms. So if somebody says that socialism, you have this thing that the whole society shares, and that no one is over anyone else. No, that's Apple stock, that's Tesla stock, that's Google stock, because everyone that's bought a share of stock is sharing in that company. No different than a bunch of folks that had a bushel, back in the days of so-called communism. It's just their frame is used to go ahead and define whatever political, social, or economic, or whatever agenda they have to make you have your frame of reference on what they want to think of. It's the same thing in terms of capitalism. They tell folks, oh, capitalism is bad. Capitalism, nah. I'm gonna capitalize on whatever opportunity that I have in front of my face, whether there's enemy, friend, foe, or whatever. If there's an opportunity, common sense tells you to capitalize on it. Therefore, even if you're the most, socialistic, communist or whatever, the moment that you have an empty belly and somebody puts some food in front of your face, you're going to capitalize on that. So therefore, I just like to set that as my foundation for the conversation in terms of these isms that people put in front of us, just because it makes it a lot easier for me to go ahead and and make plans for whatever direction I have in my life. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and pass the mic.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, hold on, Bakar. I'm gonna let you go because I want to ask MD2 real quick. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand what you're saying. And and I didn't want to get there too quick because like not everybody is up on that level or whatever, and that's no disrespect to nobody. But let me ask you, MD2, like I asked Bakari, is there a different definition for Black people for capitalism?
It's no different than a tornado that capitalizes on the barometric pressure to knock down a house, or a dog that capitalizes on trying to chase a cat up a tree, or there's no difference in terms of, and that's why I had to lay that foundation. You're capitalizing on something. It's when we start to define it in terms of what other folks say what is capitalism or what is not, that's when we lose out. So there is no difference if you don't want there to be a difference. It's just it's like trying to divine how wet water is. Hopefully that'll kind of answer that for you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bakari. What you wanted to say?
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Even in this society we're in today, right, which is a capitalist society, you do see socialist programs, food stamps, welfare, shit. Look how many people just got them damn checks. What were they called during the COVID? All of that is like social. All of that is part of socialism. Public housing. You understand what I'm saying? When you were standing out there, people standing out there getting the free cheese. Oh, and I heard one guy say one time the reason. So it is something else I heard him say. The reason they didn't want to be a capitalist is because we were the capital and they capitalized off us. Shit, dude. That's why, we still the capital. We still the resource. So now it's time for us to do some capitalizing. That's my take on it any damn way. But when you look at it, public schooling, free schooling, that's socialism. Where everybody, you understand what I'm saying? So I'll use Mike.
Well, this other person on here. All right, so let me say this. Now, MG2, you was a little bit ahead of me, even though I said it earlier. You know what I'm saying? Yo, black people better be the most capitalizing off every single thing that they possibly can. You know what I'm saying? Now, this came up because yo, often, far too often, I hear black people talking about, yo, this is a scary word, this is spooked out, and I'm tired of us being spooked out behind, especially in economic situations, and we can't realize why we're doing this. Like, yo, like we were talking, like MG2 was mentioning, yo, instead of looking at this quote unquote war, because that's what they're saying is for, you know what I'm saying, as why you can't get food in stores and all of this. This is a golden opportunity for us to capitalize off the situation that we're in. See, when I say that, I am defining it off my own thing, because see, we look at it as other people's money with pieces, like with people pictures on them that could have killed us. But all I care, it could be corn, it could be wheat, it could be, you know what I'm saying, gas, it could be whatever natural resource that you have. See, we don't even understand what money is, you know what I'm saying? Like the person put in like earlier, we don't understand what wealth is, you know what I'm saying? So we definitely need to be capitalizing off of this own stuff. Like I'm talking about, yo, we can define whatever money is, you know what I'm saying? We can define whatever we want to define it as, you know what I'm saying? But to be on here, because I hear when black people say they're against capitalism, they're like, no, it's just because you're going to exploit and hurt other people, because we have this soft, caring, forgiving, loving nature, but never a capitalizing nature off of a situation that we need to capitalize off. And if there's ever been a situation we need to capitalize off, is being at the bottom of society. So if I see any opportunity that I need to capitalize off, I'm not gonna say, yo, that's evil, that's wrong. I'm gonna do what I have to take. I'm gonna do what I have to do. Now, again, like, yo, that comes with the socialist thing, you know, like that's just definitions. We speak in English, so like, because I've been saying we could have been using all this time to make up our own words for all of this, you know what I'm saying? But yo, when I say that, like, yo, Bakari was saying with the schools and stuff, because yo, we're gonna have to be in control of our own schools, like of our own stuff. Like, so the money that we're putting together in our own communities, similar to what we have done in the past, you know what I'm saying, where they're capitalized, like Maggie L. Walker had to capitalize off the situation that black people couldn't bank with people. Madam C.J. Walker had to capitalize, and there was no products for black women, similar to today, but we don't believe in capitalizing off the situation because it's evil. You know what I'm saying? Not everything is evil. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, sometimes that's just how the world works. You know what I'm saying? You use it, the person defines what it is. You know what I'm saying? Now, you could make that money and you could have started a school. I could have done something and sold something, and I wouldn't even have to start a GoFundMe. I could have helped 20 people down there already. And not only that, the product that I'm selling could have helped millions of people. You know what I'm saying? So like, yo, I'm just saying we gotta, like, I agree with you, MG2, like, yo, start self-defining all of this stuff. So like, yo, when I say all of this, because I understand what black people were saying, they're saying, oh, because white people have, or other groups of people, Asians come in our community and do this and do that to us. So what? Let's go in their communities and do this and that. But you know what? They won't let you come in their communities now, would they? You know what I'm saying? But they're socialists. So with us anyway.
Well said. They're not so. Remember, what is the root word of the word socialism? To be social. Okay. The thing is other folks, brothers, have defined it. So therefore, we won't. So we think we take it. It's like somebody defining something to make sure that they can contain whatever your frame of reference is, so they can use it against you. So when a lot of folks talk about socialism, they talk about socialism as this, so-called communistic value. And keep in mind, you got to really listen to Dr. John Henrik Clarke's definitions, and said that there was more socialism in Africa way before Karl Marx, and it was a whole different thing. It had nothing to do with this determination of what these Europeans put on called socialism. Because John Henrik Clarke was no lover of Karl Marx by any means. I think he even called him a fraud at one time. And the thing is we are very social, irrespective of what we do as black folks. Just the way we operate as Africans. So socialism is well before the so-called frame of reference that Europeans have given us. When the biggest corporates, or the biggest socialism program that happened in the last maybe 50 years was the STEMI checks that were given, they called it PPP loans, that were given out to so many corporations that, they got corporate welfare that it was literally, since the welfare system started in United States, or their welfare system, started for them, they got more money in the last 2 years than the entire combination of their welfare system combined, and that was just for the top few corporations. So therefore, that was a form of what they would call for us, the determine for us, with $600 stimmy checks or whatever folks had gotten. They'd say that was socialism. But the real socialism, somebody got very social for them and gave them damn near 22 trillion in subsidies. So the thing is again, it's someone else's frame of reference to contain you. Like Brother Bakari brought up, a brother that's on the street corner talking. If he's creating a resource from that talking, or creating something or an industry from that talking, whatever that industry is, and he's a capitalist, irrespective of whether he's doing that or he's out in the field. If he's creating something that can create a resource, a product, a good, or a service that somebody can use, monetize, franchise, industrialize, then therefore whatever happened, he's capitalizing on something to create something out of, even if it's out of thin air. Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk, who is a South African apartheidist Boer, is nothing more than a used car salesman. Okay, they call him a genius. They call him all this stuff. And he's nothing more than a Klansman salesman, that had the gift of gab to go ahead and con folks into thinking something is more than what it is. But what he did is he capitalized on something, and he got socialist programs from governments that said you have tax subsidies, you can do this, you can do that. More than they got more quote unquote socialism, and not just in subsidies, but they're more in a socialistic environment or a communistic environment than Soviet Russia was, in terms of not only what they got because of the so-called pandemic. I'm not even talking before. No different than Jeff Bezos, who's nothing more than a used book salesman. Okay, remember, Amazon started off as a book club, and the thing is they capitalized on something. Then they got into because they have their infrastructure for themselves. I'm talking Europeans, to be socialist. In other words, they're sharing amongst themselves, sharing and making sure that their folks no different than an Amazon stock or GameStop or GME or whatever. They created that industry, and then they come and define terms for us to believe that this must be capitalism, this must be socialism, and it's unfortunate. It's not only in business terms or in terms of economy we do that, there, Brother Forecast, we also do that in so-called religion. Okay, and I don't even want to go there, but it's true. Oh, he's a Baptist, he's a Muslim, he's what? These are things that were determined by someone else that is not us. So we identify with someone else's frame of reference that they use to go ahead and contain our destiny. Dr. John Henrik Clarke said it so well. We out-Christian the Christian and out Muhammad. And therefore, other folks don't even, they use it for as capitalists. Even in religions, they use them as capitalists to capitalize on resource, mostly ours, to capitalize on political or whatever against someone else, mostly us. And we use it in terms of we define ourselves in whatever those terms that they gave us. So that's why I say I have to be very self-definition in terms of what socialism is and what capitalism is, because I know it's a slippery slope or a razor-thin edge. And once I start believing someone else's definition, then all of a sudden nothing gets done. So I'll pass the mic on that. Hopefully that helps clarify things for you there, Brother Forecast.
Yeah, definitely. And let me ask you and Bakari this. Let me ask Bakari first. Now for me, I'm not so much attached to the word, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, the words are just symbols of things that whatever. Now let's just say, okay, we because it's not all about money, like MG2 was saying. It could be about, us owning a field. Now that's a form of socialism. We got a co-op together, you know what I'm saying? Now we got the socialist program, you know what I'm saying, just for definitions, or just for conversation purposes, as they would say, if I was using the term black, So, all right, we got this co-op together, right? And one person isn't doing as much work. Now, one person is doing a whole lot of work. The other people are doing, they're doing their part, you know what I'm saying, but they're not putting in no extra time like the one person who's doing the most. Now, should all of those people be taken care of by that co-op equally, even though they don't all do the same work? And we can call it whatever we want to, but I'm just saying, that's what I would define as socialism. So, would y'all be cool with that, Bakari?
Only if they handicapped and can't do no work. Then that would be okay if they handicapped and can't do any work. I could understand that, but just like I say, the guy standing out there on the corner trying to tell me how bad my money is, but want me to use it to buy him a hamburger? No. Hell no. Should not get the same thing. No. Because you got these lazy jokers now. You're going to have some in that. And now they know there's a way they can get over. So, no, they shouldn't get the same thing. Hell no. I've had to make.
All right. MD2, I don't know if you agree with that, but you know, what you think?
I think it'd be insane to go ahead and, you know, anyone that doesn't that you know is not contributing is an individual that, you know, wouldn't even know what the product is. It's like, you know, if I'm not contributing to get, you know, to put together a car, and then they say go ahead and drive it, then I don't know how well it's put together. I might, you know, crash. You know, it's just insane to think that individual, again, that's why, again, that so-called frame of reference is socialism. It's not really, that's a frame of reference someone else gave you. In other words, that is not true socialism, okay? Because if I'm going to be socialism, again, buying a share of stock, that's like me somebody giving me free shares of Tesla stock, and I didn't go ahead and put a nickel in. Real socialism is, of course, you have to be part of that. You have to be part of the production in order to get whatever it is. But the frame of reference that they give us, again, the so-called Karl Marxian and all these other types of European constructs, it's not true socialism. It's a European construct to make us think that it's socialism. African socialism, everybody contributes because everybody wants to make sure that they learn the process, and if something happens to someone else, then you know the product or the process of going ahead and getting it done should that person not be able to do it, or there's a vacuum in that productivity. True socialism is definitely everything that you did not. It's everything not what you said in terms of, you know, if somebody doesn't put in, should they share it? That is not true socialism. That's a European construct to fool us into thinking it is. So the thing is, it all comes down to self-definition there, Brother Forecast. I'll pass the mic.
All right, and I'll say this, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm not necessarily going off of like just like a definition, because like, yo, when we talking about groups of people, you know what I'm saying? Like, because like you say, we can't be like individuals and stuff like that. We are a collective, you know what I'm saying? Now we all get that in a collective. Not everybody pulls their weight, you know what I'm saying? Now we can have a society where, you know what I'm saying, you let the other people come down. Like I said, I don't have to call it socialism, but there is like a group thing that you have to do. Like I said, like the way I put it is like, yo, are we all in charge of this business? Am I in charge of my business? Or is some entity like a government in charge of this business? You know what I'm saying? And so what I'm saying is like, yo, basically, like, if we have a group of people, you know what I'm saying, all in a society working together as one, of course there are going to be like something like that. But like, yo, in the natural world, you know what I'm saying, like, yo, everybody's not going to pull their own weight. So like there is going to be, like, to me, I think that when you go to that, like, you define it by the weakest of your group, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to like, yo, because if I put in more work, you know what I'm saying, and that's why I try to stay away from the words. But like, yo, we can only say, you know what I'm saying, so many things about the words. But if I'm working and I'm creating a business and I'm making 100,000 and this person does the same thing and he's making $1 million, you know what I'm saying? Like, but we both get 100,000 because in the society, because we all, you know what I'm saying, are a part of the society. So we all get an equal share, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, like, because that's a system that is a way of work, you know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was developed again through a European construct. You know, true African socialism doesn't necessarily operate on the principles of Europeanism. And the thing is a lot of that is because it's actually based upon individualistic capitalism. And that, in other words, well, you did this, so you only get that. You did this, so you only get that. Whereas true African socialism, everybody is definitely working no matter what capacity they had, so they could go ahead and have a consensus to make enough so everybody could go ahead and survive, irrespective of the level of involvement They do what they can to make sure everybody can can be involved as much to make sure that the product is actually made, done. So therefore, nobody would go without. And it's not a thing of like, I'm gonna determine how much you get because of your involvement. That's European capitalism that's cloaked in a so-called social construct, because that's the apex of individualism that's hidden it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. The I got mine and I did that, instead of we created something that everyone could actually do. And this individual, even though that individual could be harmed, they could be dead, it doesn't matter. They could be whatever. If they contribute to make the thing happen. It's like a windshield wiper on a car. A lot of folks don't realize, they're like, a windshield wiper on a car, I'd rather, we could go without that. But you get in the ring and you're going to go ahead and try to find that individual that made that windshield wiper. It's going to be as important as a clutch in the rain. Okay, it's going to be as important as the brakes when you're on a bridge and you're in the middle of a rainstorm. So the thing is it's a whole different construct in terms of how you determine things, because if you start to determine it on individualistic basis, then it's capitalism, it's Europeanism. But if you start to say, wait, everybody's contribution to make sure that this thing is whole is going to be, without this thing totally whole, that means that the thing will not exist in it all. And if you ever watch this movie, Schindler's List, what they call it Schindler's List, I call it Swindler's List. It reminds me of the one scene where those little hook-nosed bagel-eating children, if you want to call them that, when Oscar Schindler was trying to go ahead and save them, he said, "Oh yeah, how else are you going to get these small hands into a tank shell to polish the inside of a tank shell? So that way, even though he was full of cow doo-doo, the thing is in war or in military or any kind of ammunition, whatever it is, if you need something that inside of that thing polished, that individual might not be as important in terms of in Europeanism as the guy that designed the gun, the guy that designed the actual ammunition. Other folks might look at that individual as that's a major contribution. But if the one that polished it, which might be a minimum wage job, below minimum wage, if he's not there, the gun still will not shoot. So the thing is we have a different collectivity in terms of quote unquote socialism as African people, and how we go ahead and operate within that construct than the ideologies the Europeans gave us in terms of this individualism that is cloaked in so-called socialism. Hopefully that kind of defines it for you, Brother Forecast.
Okay, yeah. Bakari, you want to say something?
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
All right, so I would say this though, MG2, and I get exactly what you're saying, and but the thing is, like you were saying earlier, what I'm saying, like we gotta go with where we're at right now, what I'm saying, like you just said, we're the better Arabs than the Arabs, we're the better Christians than the whoever, what I'm saying, we're the better Jews than the Jews, what I'm saying. And the system that we are, like if we aren't there to do that, then there will be none. And I would say right now that there is none because we have not been there to do that. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to that kind of system right now, we don't have enough, or we haven't had enough for the last 600-700 years. Like the brother on Bakari's show mentioned earlier, we're the only group of people that has been put into slavery twice in the last 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying? And even when we talk about something that is small, which would be working together, because like I said, it's not necessarily about the socialism. I'm talking about us working together as a unit, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not so much caught up on the definitions, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not necessarily going by somebody else's construct. I'm going by what I'm seeing from our people today, you know what I'm saying? Because we have not been on that side to do the things that upholds the society, or because we haven't been able to do that, you know what I'm saying? Or else so what do you think about that?
Think of it this way. What is one of the biggest reasons, I've been through this for at least the last 50 years, of Black organizations, and we're going to put this group together and that collective together and this together, and we're going to do this, and the we gonna got this. And I've been through it, like I said, I've seen it for 50 years. And a lot of the biggest reasons why it never really has, materialized out of the walking stage, it hasn't gotten even out of the crawling stage yet, is because of someone saying, I did this, but those folks didn't do that, or that person didn't contribute that, or that person. And instead of looking at the thing as a whole and using whatever talents as a whole to get the whole thing done, it's like, you know, measuring my talent against someone else or measuring my productivity against someone else. The bottom line is the goal or the end goal is more important than even though the parts are important, but the end goal is important, to use and maximize all talents and all contribution as possible. And if somebody doesn't contribute, then of course that's not there. That they're not there. You know, it's, you know, why are they there? You know, if they're not contributing, then they don't know what's going on. So therefore, when the cake gets made, they're going to go hungry, because all of a sudden it was like the story that I told on the live stream last night of the little chickens. You know, I was telling that story for a reason in the Brother Forecast, and we heard it as we were little kids, about the mother hen and the 4 chickens, or the little 4 chicks. And she was asking, she said, hey, she told one chick, hey, go get some flour so I can make this cake. The other one chick was like, look, you know, hey, I got to get on TikTok. I ain't got time for that. Then she told the other chick, you know, the little chick said, hey, I need to get some milk and some butter because it's cake. And that little chick is like, no, I'm playing my Fortnite and my game. I ain't got time for that. Then she went to the other little chick and said, hey, you know, I need to go ahead and make sure you go in and get me some sugar and some, you know, and get me some nutmeg and everything else for this cake. And that chick said, look, I'm sleeping. I ain't got time for that. Then she went to the 4th chick and said, look, you know, I just need you to go to the store and get all this stuff for me. And, you know, we'll make this cake. And so that other little chicken, you know, the little chick went and did that, and the mother and the chick made the cake. Then the other 3 went to come in and eat that cake, and they were like, can I have some? The thing was, is the cake by the time was gone, because they were not around to go ahead and contribute to something. They did not have talent or contribution to go ahead and make a cake. So it's almost like a fulfilling prophecy. You know, it's those that are there that contribute are the ones that are going to benefit, because they are in the process. They know what's going on. They know exactly. And one of the biggest things that I noticed with a lot of Black programs that have really fallen by the wayside is because our expectations, and I mean, I'm not going too far off on a tangent, but it's a part of the socialistic construct versus the capitalism construct. The individuals did not contribute. A lot of folks had expected or wanted them to come in their definition of contribution, i.e. socialism. But the thing is, you know, because of those expectations, that individual was not part of the process anyway. So why should they capitalize on the benefits or the fruits or the reward? Because of the fact that, you know, chances are they wouldn't even know that the reward was done. You know, if they're not part of the process, hey, you know, I'm not a part of building a space shuttle, so therefore I'm not going to take a ride on it. You know, so that's the thing that, like I said, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it also goes in with what my frame of reference is in terms of socialism versus capitalism. It gets, you know, in other words, if you have a socialism project or product or whatever it is where everyone, you know, it's for the whole, and somebody ain't around to go ahead and be a part of that, then they're not going to be like the rest of us to capitalize on the result. So therefore, that's why I say it's you know, it's 6 dozen one, half a dozen the other, or a self-fulfilling prophecy. Hopefully that kind of like clarifies it for you. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I'm definitely learning from you, my brother MD2. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, though, you know, like when it comes to that, though, MD2, like, you like, yo, the people who aren't going to be around, like, yo, I understand that, because, you know, I say all the time, you know, I'm not about trying to save nobody. It's about the people that want to be down. You know what I'm saying? But then when you keep having generation after generation where you have the over like 10 times the critical mass of people not down so that it won't work, you know what I'm saying? I think that at some point, you know what I'm saying, like you have to build something. And yo, like we know, like today, like you were saying about being the cat, like you capitalize on everything. And I think that every opportunity that we have, we definitely need to capitalize on, you know what I'm saying? And then when we do that, we bring in, like you would bring in the people, more people who would be willing to do that. It's just that when we keep being like, you know, we saying like, yo, we just gonna let, it's just so like that's how we keep not getting stuff done, because like, yo, like we did stuff before, you know what I'm saying, but like this generation is like, yo, suffer from the illusion of inclusion is like different, yo, like the kid, like, yo, the generation, especially after me, they're even wilder than we are, you know what I'm saying, and they know nothing but the internet, they know nothing but a certain kind of lifestyle, you know what I'm saying, but like at the end of the day, like, yo, we keep going generations, like, yo, well, we leaving, and there's only a few of us to the point where we're not getting our goals accomplished. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, at some point, like, we're going to have to, like, find a way to, like, you know, even if you have to do it. And I'm not saying because that's a part of being a socialist construct, but I'm gonna let MG2 speak so I can go to Tanzania. So go ahead, MG2.
Maybe we should all become Amish, because it reminds me of when they get ready to go ahead and build a barn. You know, when they get ready to build a barn, they're not wondering who's not going to be there. It's like, you know, that individual that was not there will not sleep in that barn because he didn't know it was being built. You know, he's out in the rain going, "Hey, when did you guys build this?" And they were like, "Well, we gave you, we gave you the email. You didn't you get the WhatsApp?" It's almost like a, you know, and that's, like I say, I have to use my own frame of reference in terms of like, I'm not expecting. I tell folks to build your arc, and your arc is that thing, that product, good, or service that is going to be the thing that's groundbreaking that the whole world wants. And the thing is, if you go to the so-called Book of Noah, I don't have no clue of what Noah was. I could barely spell that name. But one thing I did know when I was a kid, and everybody talks about this so-called Noah, you know, the dude said, "Hey, I'm building this thing, so I'm gonna get a bunch of animals done." Maybe he wasn't a vegan, maybe he was a meat eater, I don't know. But he said, "Hey, I'm gonna build this thing because I think there's gonna be a flood." And I know this is all probably fairy tales, I'm pretty sure it is. But he said, "Hey, you know, you guys, there's gonna be a flood. Get on this thing." And the only thing that listened were animals that said, "Hey, you know, I don't mind a luxury cruise. You know, there's gonna be a 40-week storm or whatever. Hey, let's do this." So the thing is the folks that were not, you know, they were looking at dudes saying, "Man, he's crazy. You know, he's been doing a lot of Molly. I'm not getting on that boat. You know, he's probably a serial killer, whatever." They, you know, the story states that a lot of those individuals, they, you know, in other words, they did not contribute, so therefore they cannot capitalize, and they're only capitalizing on whatever air they could get it, you know, when the water gets them. It's so simple. It's like, that's why I say that it's all about self-definition and how that will interface with the projects that you, or your destiny, and the collective destiny of Black folks. So any of these folks and the generations you're talking about, Brother Forecast, I'm not frustrated on the folks that don't want to be involved, or the folks that don't want to contribute, or the folks that don't want to capitalize. I'm not frustrated whatsoever, because it's like Noah. Hey, if I'm gonna build an ark and there's a flood coming, you know, I hope that they can swim. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna let them drown, but you know, clearly they're not interested in the boat I have. Maybe my boat is the SS Minnow out of Gilligan, and they don't want to get on, and I can understand that. But the thing is whatever I build, if you know, somebody doesn't, if they're looking in terms of capitalism versus socialism, a European construct, they could do that while the water's neck high. I'm gonna build the boat regardless. Hopefully that you know, clarifies it.
Yeah, definitely, my brother. Yo, what's up, Tanzan?
Peace, Brother Focused. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good to be here. Good to be here. So in terms of the isms, I would just like to say I am neither one nor the other. I don't, you know, advocate for one or the other, although if there are capitalists, you know, going on about how great it is, I'm tempted to just go the other way and become just full Marxist, and the other way as well. So when it comes to whichever one we were in Africa, I don't think that we broke everything down in such strict terms that, looking at this tribe, is this tribe a capitalistic tribe or a socialistic tribe? And then we look back to, you know, compare them, you know, with this and that. I think for us, we were both capitalists and socialists, and neither one at the same time. For us, we were just adaptable, and we used what was there. So in that sense, we were capitalists because we took advantage of nature, the environment, the situation, the air, and so on. So in terms of capitalizing on the environment, we were, you know, very capitalistic in that. We really mastered the environment and nature and the seasons and time and so on. So, and we used that to create wealth, to create, you know, to grow crops, to have animals, to harvest, you know, at a particular time and so on. So we definitely capitalized and increased wealth that way. And for me, and greetings, MG2. I really did miss your stories. I always liked listening to your stories. So today was about, the children who want to be on the entertainment train while the world is going to hell in a basket or something like that. Sorry. But yeah, a lot of people, they really don't want to see where things are going. They know things are bad, and they just don't want to be reminded of it every day. They don't want to be reminded of what the world is, and they would rather, bury their necks and their heads in the entertainment. But there are also, those who know and are, for some reason, almost paralyzed to do something about it. There was a movie where somebody could see everything, but they couldn't move at all, or those horrible dreams where you feel like you're suffocating, but you can't move your body, or you can't scream, and you're trying to tell somebody, wake me up, and they can't wake you up. So it's sort of like that, knowing the full horror of what is, but not being able to do something about it. And that's also something that we have to think about. But let me get back to the whole socialism, capitalism. I think that we had the adaptability not just to the environment, but also to the nature of human beings. The problem with capitalism is that it seems to be very ruthless and uncaring. It says, oh, well, if you can't keep up with the rest of the rat race, then we'll leave you behind, and you will be left on the side of the street, and you will die, poor, broke, homeless, all of this stuff. It's a very, very hard carrot stick. It's a very hard stick, even with the carrot of success and material ease, because the stick is very, very painful, and you suffer more under capitalist failure than under, let's say, socialist failure. So socialism seems to almost coddle the lazy and the stupid, because it tells them, well, even if you don't work hard, there'll still be something. But the contradiction is that even in capitalism also creates a welfare state. Both of those systems will have almost the same result, in that a few people will benefit. Even in socialistic and communistic countries, we know that the people in the party, whoever anonymous they are the only ones who are really benefiting, and everybody else is suffering. And then there will be some people who just won't work. And in both societies, in the socialists, they say that the unproductive people are the bourgeoisie, or, the fat cats and so on. And then in the capitalistic system, the unproductive ones are the poor people. And so they both have to deal with that whole aspect of human, what is it called? Dispensability. People who are not necessary for society, they're not productive, both in the systems. And so just to place a story representation of those three, this is what in Africa society, it seems. There was a socialist aspect that everybody was taken care of, so that was good. But there was also that, punishment aspect, that if you did not work hard, you also could not enjoy the benefits of the society. So, I don't know how many of you have read, well, it's very famous, Things Fall Apart. So Things Fall Apart, Okonkwo is sort of in the middle. He is the sort of like the capitalist. He works hard. He has a lot of, fields, and he has a lot of, women and children and so on. So he is very proud of his achievements because he has deserved them. But his father was very lazy. I can't remember his name. His father was very lazy. And so Okonkwo had this very, he looked down on his father, whom he considered somebody who had wasted his life by not doing as much as he could. So in that way, Okonkwo gained that determination to be opposite from his father and work hard for what he wanted. And then the third aspect was his son, who was he was artistic, and he was creative, and he was more, of that nature. He could create music, and he was very intuitive. But Okonkwo looked at that as a sort of weakness, because he did not seem to have the, the qualities of, of proper manhood as he saw it. So we had different types, but we also had different ways of both tolerating them and making sure that they don't completely fall into the system. Okay, I'll end with that. That was a long one. Sorry about the forecast.
No. You're good over here, Tanzan. And Bakar, you want to say something?
No, talking to Tanzania, and she was talking about, she said how socialism coddles lazy. I can agree with that. And capitalism is a dog eat dog world, so I tell anybody I'm a dead game pit bull. So if you don't know what a dead game pit bull is, a game bred pit bull, look it up. That's what I am. So I'm the dog that can't be eaten. I'm the dog that eat other dogs. So capitalism won't bother me. It is dog eat dog. But we have to use what's at right here. If you want something else, you got to use what you have in order to build what you want. You know, we're in a capitalist society. We're in a capitalist society right now. So you have to use this for the people that want something else. They're going to have to use this to get what they want. That's my take on it anyway. I hear that, Mike.
All right. MG2, you want to say something?
Yeah, I gotta thank TZ. I have not heard anyone talk about that book, Things Fall Apart, in probably 17 years. There was actually an animated video I saw a long time. It was kind of based upon it, and wow. And I think the author was Nigerian. I might be wrong.
Yes, he was Chinua Achebe.
Yeah. I mean, it's like at least 17 years. You're the first person that actually mentioned it. Yeah, and I like the fact that how you were saying, almost like as if they support each other, and that's why I like to say that, you know, these so-called ideologies or the isms, you know, these isms, in terms of what they do for African or Black folk, how is it being used? Can we kill other dogs in the terms of Brother Bakari using these? You know, can we be the dog that eats dogs? You know, and the reason is because other folks around the world, they use isms to eat other dogs. Unfortunately, those other dogs are Black. You know, they eat our resources. They eat our languages. They eat they eat our lives. They eat our spirituality, of course, because to them, an ism is nothing more than a weapon or a tool. To us, it's some kind of ideology to follow that somebody else gave us. So it's just, you know, just literally, you know, if there is an ism to use, as Brother Bakari said, it should be Garveyism, or to even make it even more concrete, it should be Africanism, the ism of us being us, so we can go out and eat other dogs. So hopefully that kind of helps clarify. I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, I agree with y'all. And let me say this, like, especially like Tanzan said, it's not about one thing, you know what I'm saying? And the reason why I called it the Black capitalist, because for me, I hear too many Black people, like when we talk about capitalism, they say evil and you got to be mean. And well, guess what? Maybe you should start being mean to other people besides your own people. You know what I'm saying? Because when other people come up in your place, you better use them for everything that they're worth. You got all of these resources, no matter where we say we come from in the earth, whether you're America, Africa, whatever. I don't care where you say you come from. You have all of these resources. You better use all of those resources and stop talking about, oh, this is evil. You got to be mean and all of this. No, you better. Oh, all right, Bakari, that's all good. You better do what you have to do to get in the position that you have to give. It's like, yo, MG2 just said, how are you using it? You know what I'm saying? Like, now, like, when I'm talking about this, like, no, I would say this, though. You know what I'm saying? For me, if I have a business, I want it to be my business. You know, that's my thing. Like, I'm working on a project. I want it to be my project. It's not a group effort. You know what I'm saying? It's my thing. But then there's other things that is a group thing. But I will never be for somebody else telling me or forcing me to do something that I'm not down to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, I get if it's a group thing, maybe that's my issue and I got a problem with authority, maybe. I don't know. But like for me, I want mine, like what I create to be like, and it's not even about trying to be selfish. Maybe it is, but I want it to be mine. Like somebody can't tell me, oh, no, you can't do it this way. You have to do it this way. You know what I'm saying? That's why I see these systems like, yo, as a group, there's things that's for groups. There's things for people that you build, you know what I'm saying? And I don't see nothing wrong with like, yo, like now it's like, yo, if a Black person come up with a way to create baby formula and stuff like that, yo, I think he should get all of that stuff. But we definitely got to put back to our own and build our own schools, our own communities and stuff. Like MG2 said, I don't want to say we got to do it. It would behoove us, but you know, like, yo, until we start doing that, we won't be in a position. But like all of these things is working together. But I also believe in like building things on your own and controlling your own destiny. And at the end of the day, like whatever brings us to self-autonomy. but I don't think that we should be as opposed to saying that, yo, I'm about, you know what I'm saying, trying to capitalize on the situation that I'm in. And we shouldn't be calling ourselves evil or saying we shouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? To me, I think that's a bad move, and we'll never, you know what I'm saying, be able to lift ourselves up economically behind it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Tanzan, go ahead.
Yes, I agree with you about being able to capitalize on any situation. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with capitalism, as defined by simply making a profit out of your talent, your labor, your ideas. That's all it is. It's you have something and you're going to have people pay for it, or you're going to, work for it. So there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with what we used to do. Even selling at the market, it wasn't just capitalists, this evil people just going about destroying and eating up markets. A lot of the markets, even if you go to Africa right now, there's a lot of women who actually sustain themselves on what they grow. It might not be the big industry, but if you can grow your food and have some left over that you can go and sell and exchange that for something else, that's all it is. It's what we used to exchange before that would matter. Maybe she would go and sell her grains for some milk, or get a different kind of thing, whatever. But it was eventually within the community and within nature. So that's the only difference. Now you're getting money for it. Before, you actually used to get something different for it. But you don't want to be in a conversation with people who talk about, oh, money is not important, this, so on and so forth. There's no talking with them, because they are forcing their ideals to be reality, and they're not looking at what is. You'd like money not to be in circulation. You'd like to go back to the time when you could actually exchange your good for something actually good, but that's not the system that we live in. And for somebody to be so stuck in that mindset is also for them to be dangerous to themselves, because if you cannot see where you are at the moment, then you can't see where you're going. So my only hesitation with people, claiming one thing or another, when I hear the word black something, it's always going to be something just weird and strange, and something that is that to me is that black appropriation of cultures that they don't really understand, and they don't do it the same way. Because when we do something to copy somebody else, it's done out of a position of envy or inferiority. Oh, we're the black Hebrews, we are better than those white Hebrews. Don't listen to those white Hebrews over there. We're the real Hebrews. If you have to add black to something, then it means that you're taking it from somebody else. It's like calling yourself the black English or the black Greeks or whatever. If you're taking somebody else's culture and calling it your own, you already admitted that your culture is not worth it. It's not up to par with theirs. If you call yourself a black African, that's redundant, but that's cool. But if you call yourself a black Australian, well, maybe not that one. But let's say okay, I'll avoid the FBS talk for now. But in any case, it's where you identify with. And if you're only trying to emulate what others have, then you'll always call yourself by their names. And so for this was one of the weaknesses to me of that African socialist movement, because they strongly disapproved of the imperialist and colonialist and all this, Easts, and then they went to the opposite East, thinking that the opposite of, evil is good, whereas it could just be a different kind of evil, or a different kind of something to fight against. So you always think that something different is going to be something better. Same thing with the people who, run from one religion to another, hoping that this time they found, that one religion. So, you're always trading one thing for another, and sometimes people don't really look into what they find to look at, is this really us? So the African socialists, while they had a good idea that yes, African societies were socialistic in nature, they took care of everybody, Ubuntu, all these wonderful, great things, they forgot that it was also a very competitive, a very, demanding, and it asked for duties and responsibilities, not just acquisition and, accumulation. So we forgot about that aspect of a tradition, that it was not just about, oh, everybody should be taken care of. It was also everybody had to work as hard as they could to get what they wanted. So both went hand in hand, and we go one way and then we forget another. We hate capital so much that we're willing to, to die, to cut off the hand just to prove capitalism wrong. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay, yeah, that definitely Tanzania. But we was the Black Greeks, right, Tanzania? No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay.
MG2.
I always like, and like TZ, I love telling stories. And I had this thing happen to me the other day, and I was walking, downtown, and it was just the weirdest thing. And I had to ask myself, this is the thing that I learned about these so-called individuals that have these isms like capitalism versus socialism, and this person is a socialist, an African socialist, and I was walking down the street. I'm gonna just give you a story, and I was, I'm just hanging out. I think I was over in Virginia probably a week ago, and I'm walking down the street. Next thing I know, I'm walking behind Jeff Bezos, and there was some African socialists. That I guess they call themselves indigenous Moors or something like that. I can't remember. And I'm walking right down in the middle of the, walking behind Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos drops like 18 different stacks behind him. He just dropped them. And I was like, oh man! So I started putting them in my pockets, as I was putting his stacks in my pocket, I saw these African socialists start to put his stack in their pockets too. I'm talking racks. They had racks and racks, and I was like, ain't you guys African socialists? I said, why don't you guys go up to Jeff Bezos and tell him you found his money, and that would he be a good socialist and to share his money with you, his stacks with you, and I'm pretty sure he'll do it. So I decided I'm gonna go my way with my stacks because I'm a capitalist. I'm capitalizing the fact that Jeff Bezos dropped a bunch of racks in front of me, and I'll let them be socialists and ask if he wants to share. So it kind of, I tend to think that these so-called socialists, if somebody were to drop racks and stacks in front of them, I might be wrong. I may be off base, but I have a feeling that they're going to become quick capitalists overnight. At least that moment, they will forget what socialism is while they're getting ready to go and pay off those bills of what they had of Jeff Bezos' money. So I'll go ahead and pass the mic on that.
No, brother, you're wrong. You're wrong, because what they did was not capitalistic. What they did was simply their deserved return of the money that was initially meant for the
reparations.
Yes.
It's so correct. Yeah, exactly. It's socialism when it fits them.
Yes, absolutely. So that's all.
Yeah, it's a socialist program, reparations. There you go. So
yeah.
Go ahead, MG2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was about to close out, but go ahead. Say what you wanted to say real quick.
No, the thing is I just would hope, and like I say, it's just for all of us to just know that, whatever definitions or whatever somebody says that we use to contain ourselves, whether it's religion, whether it's their definition of a peanut, or whether it's capitalism or socialism, or even if they say that the word wet is for water, whatever, it would behoove us to start looking and saying, what have their definitions and the things that they say done for us, to where we can outcompete them, to where we win the game, to where we can control our destiny and make sure theirs doesn't exist. Whatever definition of anything they give us, like I said, whether it's capitalism, whether it's religion, whether it's the time of day, or whether it's a peanut, if it has not done us our favor for us to be on top of the world, then we might want to go ahead and self-define, because I think that would be a better program. So I'll go ahead and pass the mic.
Yeah, that's a fact, MG2. I'm not the one that said it's 11:44 at whatever day it is, you know what I'm saying? And it's the year that it is. I never said it was, you know what I'm saying? So, you absolutely right, MG2. it's time for us to start having self definitions. You know what I'm saying? Even creating lingo or at least a symbol or something, so we know that we good. You know what I'm saying? At the very, very, very least. You know what I'm saying? And not be afraid to step on the people who stepped on your neck. You know what I'm saying? Stop apologizing and all of this kind of stuff, and stop being scared of being successful. You know what I'm saying? Because at the root of it, that's what I think it is. I think we were scared to be successful. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily about the words, you know, like even the word black. I know that we'll have a 12-hour live debating about the word black, but I'm not
Oh,
even
you
upset.
came back.
What'd you say, Tanzania?
No, you were muted there for a while, but you came back. You just came back, so it's okay.
Okay, I must have fell off. But yeah, like we could have a 12-hour conversation, but I'm not attached to none of these words because you know what? They beat these words into my head. You know what I'm saying? So anybody forgive me if I don't speak the King's English properly, you know what I'm saying, enough for you. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, yo, this is an opportunity. Like, yo, MG2 said it, you know what I'm saying? Bakari said it, Tanzan said it. And even on Bakari's show earlier, we were saying it. This is a golden opportunity for us to create whatever we want to create. We can take the good and leave the bad about whatever we want. We can be whatever kind of people we want. We can call ourselves the Planeteers if we want. You know what I'm saying? We can do anything that we put our mind to, including, you know what I'm saying, capitalizing off the blessings that we already have, you know what I'm saying, and using it for your advantage, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no way that, you know, what's the dude? Jimmy Iovine should have made more money than Ice Cube did off of NWA. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yo, that kind of mindset we got to get rid of. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of this John Brown complex and all of this kind of stuff. And it's not scary to be in charge of your own destiny. So, Tanzan, go ahead. You know, take your time, and you know, say everything you want to say.
No, just thank you for having me. Thank you for the great discussion, a continuation of what we were talking about earlier with Brother Bakari. So, yeah, we really have to resist the other definition, somebody else coming and defining what is good, what is bad, and what we should ask is good for whom? Good for us, good for them, good for everybody in the world. As much as sometimes we see, oh, well, you know, we have seen so many benefits of the capitalism of this and that, but benefits to who? It's, you know, a lot of people now live in worse conditions than they did before the, you know, innovations of capitalism or of technology. So sometimes when we look at the benefits, we only look at the greatest benefits and we forget the worst of any of those systems. So when we look at what works, if we're not winning the game, we have to look at why we're losing and where we're losing at. So if we're losing in capitalism in terms of being able to collectivize and use our resources in a united way, not that we don't have them as the previous program, you know, Brother Bakari was talking about. So it's not that we don't have the resources, it's that we don't know what to do with them. I forgot the lady, what was her name? Sister, she started with a B. It was a historical name.
Barbara Sizemore.
Barbara Sizemore, yes. So she was talking about, you know, the consumer power of Black Americans and, you know, just Africans in general, if you look at the resources that we have in our lands. So we have that potential of resources, but what we do with that, all that potential is just, you know, feed it back into the system. We don't do anything with it. It's like the money is put on a, like a rubber band. So you get it for a second, you hold it in your hand, and then just as quickly you know, pull it back and it goes right back to where it came from or somewhere else. So you don't really keep what you're given, you just are given to hold it for a while. So we haven't really taken advantage of even that holding. The only time that you have a little bit of power is when you still have that, you know, ball or stone in your hand, but it's a very short, limited amount of time. From the time you get the money until the time that that money is gone, it's a very short amount of time and a very short amount of money. So we haven't really taking that potential. The only time that you can put that potential is if you either make something quickly of it, or if you put it together with others, and then maybe that mass will slow down the return of the rubber band, that potential. So that's what we're facing. We're facing a very limited, power, or even a limited amount of opportunities, because this would have been the time for us to get together and say, well, we have been given a short amount of time where we can actually reach out to each other and create networks, not just from the people around us, but from the people from different areas. Somebody in, the East Coast, West Coast, there was someone from the Caribbean living, there's so many different voices that can come together at this point, and we can actually share ideas. So I know that sometimes people say, oh, it's just talking, and people don't really do anything. But talking is the beginning of action. We can't just, show up like 30 Black people show up today and then we start working. We'll have to come to some sort of, not agreement about everything, but at least agreement of where we're going. The problem with capitalism is that the end eventually becomes just the end. There is no means. There is no anything that you're working towards. The means, become the end. So the means to happiness or to liberty or to freedom was, wealth or money, the pursuit of wealth. So that pursuit of wealth becomes the greatest pursuit, that everything else becomes secondary to it, whether it's freedom, whether it's humanity, whatever that is, whether it's everything becomes, just about pursuing wealth, and then you sacrifice everything else, including your personal autonomy, including your freedom, including your beliefs, including your society, just to get that, material wealth. So everything becomes just about that, and we forget even why we wanted money in the first place. And that's why some people say, oh, money isn't real, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, to some extent, that's true for the people who have lost the reason why they even started accumulating money in the first place. It wasn't just, for the sake of hoarding it or, counting your numbers at night. It was supposed to be originally for the sake of helping yourself and the people around you. But yeah, even that whole end to it has been forgotten. And so capitalism, just in its most extreme form, not in the form of, just profit and simple mathematics, in it, the mentality of capitalism is one that can create that sort of, psychosis for just infinite accumulation. So, wow. Okay, I think I'll end there for now.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Thank you. And thank you for coming on, Tanzania. I'm glad everything is all right for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad you're back. And I appreciate you for coming on. And MD2, yo, I'm glad a wise, you know what I'm saying, a wise, educated, you know what I'm saying, a genius brother came on here and had this conversation. But you know what's funny though, like when you had the not so wise brother come on here, you get more people watch it. So you know what I'm saying? But I'm glad we can have these kind of conversations. But y'all see what I'm saying? When we have a real serious conversation, it's not the same as when you, but that's neither here nor there. But go ahead, MG2. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me out here there, brother. And TZ, as always, good listening to you. I mean, it's just, I love the perspective because, it's something that I think worldwide Africans, it's a very simple solution to whatever we want. It's just, do we want it? And I'm going to leave on this note just to kind of say that what might help us, I may be wrong, but I think what might help us is all of us that are African, Black, FBA, Kemet, Hotep, Nation of Islam, Thugs, Coons, Hip Hop, whatever we call ourselves this week, next month, or whatever we feel like, if we call ourselves the Great Pumpkin, it doesn't matter. Those of us who are African, those of us who are Black, I think the solution for all of us is think or act as if the next day we wake up that every other non-Black individual is either going to try to kill us or put us back in chains. And that we have 24 hours to do what we have to do to make sure it doesn't happen. I may be wrong, but I think that might get rid of some isms, that we might be thinking a little differently in terms of what to do next and what to capitalize on, for lack of a better term. And I think a lot of us will capitalize on that one thing that's very common sense, and that's called self-preservation. On that note, thanks a lot there, brother Forecast and Hotep.
All right, yeah, thank you, MG2, and I appreciate you for coming on, and appreciate you, Tanzan. And so let me say this, you know what I'm saying? Yo, at the end of the day, like, yo, we are all we got, you know what I'm saying? We have to build our own communities. Nobody is coming to save us because, like MG2 said, like, whether we're not imagining it, we're living it, but we can't even imagine it. That's the crazy part, you know. And every other group is going to capitalize off of every mistake that we take. And if they know we're not protecting our children, we're not protecting our women, we're not protecting our brothers, ourselves, then they're going to continue to capitalize off of who you are, off of what you have done. You know what I'm saying? And we cannot be afraid to capitalize off off of whatever we have to capitalize off. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we have to do what we have to do and stop being like so spooked out about everything, because it's not one thing. It's all of these things working together. It's different groups. If you feel like something has to be done, go out there and do it. You know what I'm saying? I tried to start the you know what I'm saying, water crisis thing, you know what I'm saying? And anybody else who's trying to start something, I support that, you know what I'm saying? Because we have to work together, because we all we got, you know what I'm saying? Or I would say it would behoove us to do so. But you know, like I said, man,
Brother Focus, sorry, before you end, I just wanted to say to to add on to the defining our own terms and our redefinition. Also telling our own stories, and that's why I had to add that MG2 is also the storyteller. You know, he things that sometimes will take a whole book to explain and to tell, and we don't have the same books. We have different experience. There's no universal education for everybody. Everybody comes with different experiences and so on, but a story just cuts all of that to a very manageable slice. And that's what we Africans had that was also very powerful. There are weaknesses in the oral traditions because unfortunately you don't have the permanent record and so on, but what we also managed to do was to take a lot of that wisdom and put them in very small, riddles, proverbs, stories, these things that when you hear them, it just makes sense. It doesn't take a lot of explaining to do. And if you're intelligent, you'll take the lesson from it. And if you're not, you'll just miss it and see it as just, oh, it's just a story. So we also had the stories that we were told, and we also have to start telling our own stories, not just defining the terms. After we define the terms, then we use those words to tell our own stories. So just wanted to say that thank you so much, and it's been wonderful, and I always appreciate being here. So peace.
Yeah, definitely peace. And I agree with that. MG2 story, you got me telling stories out here. And yo, Shot, what's up, Maya, the Rainbow Goddess? Thanks for coming through. And yo, when it comes to self-defining, and that's what I want to get through our heads. We have to start defining our own reality. You know what I'm saying? It's not just the words, it's the action. Words are just the symbol to the action that you have to take. Now, whatever it is that you believe in, take action towards that to see it happen. You know what I'm saying? So defining yourself is very important, but taking action behind those definitions is the most important thing, or it means nothing. You know what I'm saying? And understanding that you can capitalize off every single situation. You can be who you want to be, and you do not have to be ashamed about it. You know what I'm saying? But we do have to, you know what I'm saying, it would behoove us to work together and put aside our tribal differences that we keep having, at least for the greater good of self-autonomy. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate all of y'all for coming on here, and thanks MG2, thanks Tanzan, Bakari, even though he ran, you know what I'm saying, he tried to duck you, MG2. It's all good though.
You can't attack him when he's not here.
He here somewhere. So yeah, I'll take it back then, Bakari. I'll wait till you come on. But all right, so as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.